Hello, my name is Queen Butahe. I was born and raised in Tanzania. Growing up in Tanzania, I did not imagine that the future that I have today would be possible. Today we are here to talk about our future, and I believe that our future is to let those who have been abused to know that they do not have to remain silent, to know that they do not have to take in the shame or live in shame. In Tanzania, I grew up watching many women being treated like punching bags. Whether they were educated, whether they were smart, educated or rich, it didn't matter. Our society taught us that women were not to fight back. We were to sit in silence, to take in the shame. We were made to feel that things that were happening to us, we deserved it. The first person ever to teach me to stand up for myself was my mother. At 5 years old, my mother used to make me watch the fights that my father started with her. It was always a fight between a pregnant woman and a drunken man. And even though both of them would walk out of the room with bruises and bloody noses, I felt that my mom won. And I hated her for winning. Because women were not to fight men. My friends' mothers were the ones being punched, were the ones being kicked, were the ones receiving the abuse and never to fight back. But my mom was fighting back. And I did not like her. A few years later, I moved in with my aunt, my mom's younger sister. At that time, my mom, my dad, and my twin siblings all died from HIV/AIDS. My younger brother, Walter, he and I got separated. I still do not know where he is until today. And under my aunt's roof, my aunt was the punching bag. However, she, unlike her sister, she never fought back. And I did not understand why. My aunt was a very highly educated woman. She was making more money than her husband. And she never threatened to leave. And I just didn't understand why. However, it was under my aunt's roof that I realized what my mom was trying to teach me. My mom knew the written code, that women were not to speak up, that her voice was useless. So even though she was being abused, she did not just go down silently. She made my dad know her strength. So, watching my aunt living the life she's living, and I knowing myself, I knew that I was not my mom. For me, through the abuses, I did not have the strength that my mom had to fight back. When I was being molested, even when I was getting raped, I remained silent. I did not make a sound. I did not even beg for people to stop. I just remained silent because I understood that it was safer to be silent. Speaking up would just open up a can of worms that I was not ready to face. So I became part of my society. I accepted my reality. I felt the shame, and I kept my mouth shut. Fast forward years later, October 23rd, 2007, I remember that day, and I'll never forget that day, and I'll tell you why. Because that was the day where I was going to start a new life, somewhere else. In the plane from from Tanzania coming to the United States, I decided to make promises to myself. I promised myself that I was not going to be a victim anymore. I promised myself that I was going to fight like how my mother fought. But then something happened. I came to the United States where I was supposed to have my second chance, which I also promised myself that I was not going to let it go to waste. But I found myself trapped. I could not pretend that I was never a victim. The life that I thought I was living in Tanzania came with me. Those memories came with me. And with that, I was still in prison. Each time I made a call back to Tanzania to speak to my relatives, within that call, I have to hear the voice of my rapist, my aunt's husband. I couldn't pretend. I couldn't pretend anymore. Each time I spoke to my aunt, I felt the need to apologize because I felt so guilty. I wanted to say, I am sorry. I am sorry that he slept with me. I am sorry that I made it possible. I am sorry that I was not strong to prevent it from happening to me. I felt the need to apologize without understanding why am I the one to apologize. I could no longer pretend that being silent kept me safe, because silence just kept making a victim out of me. Through silence, I felt so much shame. So I finally decided to do the impossible. Little Miss Queen decided to speak up. I opened up to a very important person in my life, one who loved me dearly, one who created a safe environment where fear never touched me. And she listened. Each time I spoke up, the less shameful I felt. Then I decided to put my story on a website to inspire more women out there. Please come out and speak up. And each time I shared my story, even today, the stronger I got. My worst nightmare, which was to speak up, ended up being the breath that I was longing to take. I cannot explain it to you how amazing it felt. Always people tell you it's good when you speak up. Let it out. You feel good, right? Let it out. But you don't know until you try it. Finding my voice made me realize that I had this power inside me that I really never thought I had. I was like, here you go, Miss Queen. Oh, you can speak up now. And it felt amazing. So we're here today talking about what's our future. And I say that our future is to speak up. Our future is to end abuse. Our future is to stop making victims feel like they deserved the things that were happening to them. Because when I was in Tanzania, when those things were happening to me, I felt that I deserved them. There must have been something about me that allowed those things to happen. I thought maybe if I was prettier, maybe if I was richer, maybe if, who knows what, maybe those things would never happen, but that was not the case. Because there were prettier women, and those things were still happening to them. There were more educated women, but those things were still happening to them. So really, the problem is we were silent. Because I thought maybe if I behaved myself, right? maybe those things will end, but they never ended. So I say that our future is to speak up. My mother used her fist, but I can't fight like that. But I've decided to use my voice. And I must tell you that it does work. And therefore I challenge you to do the same. Because shame does not belong to the abused. Shame belongs to the abusers. And therefore we as a society, we have to stand up and fight for what matters. Abuse has to stop. Thank you very much.